evening, YouTube. This is Amy's Bro. For this video, we are doing another episode of the Crunchyroll review series, and this time we are handling the BL anime known as DRAMAtical Murder. Isn't it interesting how we started with a Crunchyroll review that was for a BL anime, and we ended with a Crunchyroll review on a BL anime? Yeah. Hey, I watch anything, so it doesn't matter to me. The idea behind DRAMAtical Murder is, well, let's start. The story revolves around a young man named Aoba Sadageki, who has extremely long hair, which at the start of the series you find out it's painful for him to be touched on it. Yeah, I know, weird, isn't it? Anyway. When you first look at it, you think his hair is just like a really funky style, and it's actually tied up in some kind of weird ponytail. One of his best friends is actually a hairstylist. His name is called Jaku. Along the way, you also meet characters who also are from the game like Jaku, such as Clear, Noiz, Mink, Toll. There's a cop whose name escapes me, Tay, and Mizuki, just to name a few. Actually, that's practically the whole cast. Well, there's also Virus and Trip, but I digress. Virus and Trip, by the way, are my favorite characters in the entire series, and I don't care if they're bad guys. That's just my spoiler alert. The story kind of revolves around this. There's two parts to this island. There's what we'll call the commoner section. That's the part that Aoba and company live on. And then there's the area called the Platinum Jail. This is where the Oval Tower and where To, who's one of the biggest, we'll call him the big antagonist for the series, where he resides. One of the big hooks to the series is the people like to play this game called Rhyme. The thing is that Rhyme games are technically illegal. Cops try to shut them down ASAP. Get what I'm saying? And the way these games work is, if you lost, you could seriously be injured, if not killed. The funniest part is when I saw this for the first time, do you know what I immediately thought of? Have you ever seen the anime Angelic Layer? If not, go and watch that, because the way they do their battles is they use figurines, and the people using their motions control the figurines that way. Here, the people use what are called all mates. They're basically AIs that come in different forms. Aobas, for example, would be a dog form, but when he can transform into a human. Noiz has a cube, but that produces rabbits, and the rabbits can do different things. He's a hacker, by the way. You know, you have Mink, and you have almost forgot Kojaku, who have bird-like all-mates. They have just totally different personalities. And that just gives you a basic understanding of how that works. They do a really good job of introducing the characters, explaining what Rhyme is, and they do a very good job of introducing the characters. And the characters are actually pretty memorable, even if you've never played the game. And that's the important thing. Most people will probably have illegally downloaded the game and played it, so they'll know the characters ahead of time. If you haven't played the game and you're just watching the anime, you won't know a lot of the characters, but they're memorable enough, and there's so few that you don't have a hard time remembering everybody. Do you get what I'm saying? It's kind of like how this anime worked. Gakuen Heaven, Boys Love Hyper, which was also based off a BL game. We reviewed that recently for the anime review series. where you had a cast of characters that you knew either from playing the game, and there was a PSP game, by the way, or you watched this series, and because of the limited cast, which most people would think is a detriment, it actually worked really well for this series. Big time. It kind of also helped for, what was this here? Black Butler a little bit. Although that one wasn't nearly as good. Personal opinion. Tokyo Ghoul was one that the size of the cast worked. I'm sorry. But this one really, really, really excelled with its cast and getting you to care about them. That was a big thing. Characters like Clear, you developed an emotional bond for. But what was even more interesting was this, and this is the interesting thing. The first 6 episodes, about the first 5 or 6 episodes, they introduced the characters and they gave you reasons to care, to like, or to hate. By the time you get to episodes 6 or 7, they start ending the roots for the game, because you have to remember this is based off a BL game. So we had to end the main character's roots. We had Mizuki, we had, Kojaku, we had Clear, we have Mink, we have Ren. I think I may have missed one, but I forget who it is. Anyway, the point is, we had all these characters that we had to end, and they did so by getting their own scrap. This is when Aoba would use an ability that he got to be able to go into someone's head and be able to sort of help them, heal them mentally, if you want to use the term. Make it in a way that they understand their purpose in life. It's almost like he plays God, even if that's not the best way to put it. Oh, and there's one other character I neglected to mention. See, he has a twin brother. His brother's named Sei. By the way, it's spelled S-E-I. Sei is just like Aoba. He has the same abilities. He communicates to Aoba using a game which is a parody of Dragon Quest called Silent Oath. And through these messages, he's able to convey certain things to his brother, and we may not get them right away, but you kind of look at it, you dissect it, and you go, got it. So you have your story, and I've already kind of gone over the plot progression and the story progression, which is really well done, I think. Here's maybe the issue, okay, that some people will have, especially if you've played the game. Mink, from what I've been told, remember I've never played the game, has one of the most important routes, if not the important route in the entire game, because you understand what the scraps and all that stuff is. Well, they made it in this anime because I think here's what they wanted to do. They wanted to trip up the people who have played the games, and they wanted to draw in an audience specifically for this anime. Plus, they wanted to promote the PS Vita game, which is coming out on Mischief Night, October 30th, which is a C-rated game, rated 15. So they've taken out all the sex scenes, which is critical because I didn't know this, but in this country, you pretty much have to have a 13 rating on an anime. One of the rare exceptions is Tokyo Ghoul, which is a 17 plus, but you mostly have to be under 18 to be able to air in the US on television. So that was a big thing. So you take out all of the sex scenes basically, and you have to work your way around them. And they did it in different ways. One of my favorite scenes actually was the kitchen scene, which actually was edited, obviously, from the game. And to see the interaction between Aoba and Clear, because Clear became like legitimately one of those characters everybody that watches this, I don't give a damn if you've played the game or not, everybody that watches this and you watch his route, if you don't feel for him when his episode is over, and if you're not feeling like you're going to bawl like a baby afterwards, you have no heart, you have no conscience, you have no soul. Let's get this straight now. Do you understand me? People like the character Mink. A lot of what went on during the series when I was reading posts while the show was airing was people were not liking Mink. Now maybe they weren't liking him legitimately from the game, or maybe there were people that watched the series and didn't like him. I didn't like him personally because every time we saw him when he interacted with Aoba, he was physically abusing him. In the one episode, he got up when they took Aoba to his hideout. He was punching the shit out of him. That's how he abducted him, actually, believe it or not. In another episode, in order to get him to do something that he wanted, actually in 2 episodes, I think, to get him to do something that he wanted, he physically attacked him. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, you want me to like this character, I'm thinking this about the fandom. The fandom wants me to like this character, but I'm watching this series and it's not doing it for me. I'm sure that there's a legitimate thing about liking him, but it didn't do that for me. Okay? I cared more about when, Mizuki had his, Kojaku had his, Noiz had his, Clear had his. Do you get what I'm saying? And when Ren had his, within the first minute, I cared about his. I still cared about Minx, but it didn't do as much for me as when I watched the other characters because they did a better job giving them screen time and making me care about them. Like, almost the way it worked was like this. Episode 5, they gave him like screen time up to a little bit of screen time up to episode 5, but then episode 5, like, they gave him like that episode, and then they didn't give him another episode to like episode 9. So in between this, I'm supposed to give a shit about him, and I didn't, unfortunately. I wish I did. I wish the show gave me a reason to like him. I wanted to like him. I didn't want to go through the series. I wanted to go through the series and not have a single character that I hated or that I didn't like for some strange reason. Him, I couldn't like him. I tried. Couldn't do it. Everybody else's character got developed to the point where I liked them. Him, no. So for the most part, character development was great, unless we're talking Mink. Sorry, but that's just the way it worked. Not his fault, but it was the way it was done. We have to talk about the animation because, okay, I say I don't take off for animation usually. And I'm not going to do it here because of something that happened. Okay? When episodes are animated, there's a beta version and there's the final product. What you're supposed to see is the final product. Well, apparently for episodes 1 through 3, you got the beta version. Yeah. Or at least episode 3. Apparently episodes 1 and 2 there were some minor glitches also. So, to the staff's credit, to NAZ's credit, the studio that did the show, they said episode 3 was the beta version. We're going to re-air the episode. Instead of taking down the original episode off of like Crunchyroll or whatever website, they've re-aired the episode on a Japanese website with the final product. Whether or not when they go through Crunchyroll, if they're going to have them put up the 3 proper episodes? I don't know. They should, but I don't know if they're going to do that. Animation after that, however, for me wasn't a problem. Character development was alright. Story and plot progression was fine. I had no issue. The emotional connections, as I've mentioned, they made you care about characters. They made you care about Ren. They made you care about just about everybody else in the series. The one issue I had, was Mink. That was it. And you can say, well, if you haven't played the game, you shouldn't really be able to have an opinion on him. No. Based off what I saw in the anime, that was my opinion. And that's what I base all these on. These are my first impressions of a character based off of the anime, what they show me. Do you get it? Now, final grade. Should you watch this series? Yes. Forget the fact that it's a BL. Forget the fact that it's based off of a BL anime. Forget the fact that it's, it's only that the animation may be kind of wonky in the first 3 episodes. They do the job right of developing characters, of progressing the story, of progressing the plot to the point where you want to see the bad guy get his comeuppance, to the point where you want to see what happens between Aoba and every character he runs into, be they Virus and Trip, be they Clear, be they Kojaku, be they Mizuki, or is it Miyuki? One of the two. Be it anybody, be it even his grandmother, Tay. Oh, there is one thing, one other big change they did do to this plot that I will tell you now. In the game, it's mentioned that his parents, Aoba's parents, left him with Tay. The anime says his parents died. So that is a plot change that they did in the series. Now, I usually don't give spoilers, but I did this time only because, in case you're not watching the series, but you have played the game, there is some discrepancies with the story, but that's fine with me because they wanted to throw you off your game. They should be able to do that. And they did brilliantly, I think. You know what I'm saying? And also, we have to remember, because this is promoting a 15+ game in Japan that comes out next month, you're not going to have these sex scenes like were in the actual game. Do you get what I'm saying? So, if you can look past those omissions, which I can, then you're fine. You're going to enjoy the hell out of this. If you're one of those people that has not seen this, but you are kind of, how do I put it? You played the game and you kind of want to watch this, but those changes might turn you off, then you're going to miss out, because to me, this and Tokyo Ghoul, without question, were my 2 favorites of the summer. And we haven't gotten to Gakuen yet. Gakuen Sojo no Saki-kun we will do next Sunday, beginning next Sunday. And in the meantime, this series gets a definite watch from me. You need to be watching this. And if you're not, I understand. BL's not your thing. Cool. I respect that. I respect anybody that doesn't want to watch a series because material might make them uncomfortable. You have that right. I'm just giving you my personal recommendation. And so with that, we wrap up the summer anime season. Yes, we are officially done as far as the series I intended to review for the summer. We actually had one which snuck in at the last minute, that was Tokyo Ghoul. And of course you knew we were doing Sailor Moon Crystal. Well, Sailor Moon Crystal's not over yet, so. But those are the series that are done. Now we move on to catch-up time. On the road to Psycho Pass beginning October 9th. And to start, we are going to go with Vampire Night. That begins on Tuesday. We're going to take off Monday. On Tuesday, we will start with Vampire Night. On the road to Sunday with Gakuen Nozaki, Sojo Nozaki-kun, because I'm excited to do that one. So, I will see you maybe Tuesday. If not, I will definitely see you on Wednesday as far as that review goes. You take care of yourself. I hope that you had I hope you had a great summer and a blessed summer. And I hope the fall, especially with anime, is even better for you. I hope it is for me. You take care of yourself now. Later.